any action, 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 any
SportsCast. I'm your producer Martin, joined by your local Las Vegas handicappers, Effie.
What is up, guys? It's AnyAction SportsCast here to give you a quick UFC 2021 recap on the year. Gonna do a little special here on the pod. Super excited to talk about this, dude. We'll just recap the fight year and have a hell of a year to talk about. I'll say that, man. What do you think?
Dude, Dana White said it. It's like every year is their biggest year.
Yeah.
So it's
damn,
like,
huh?
I mean, this. You would think after like big mega fights, especially after Conor fights, just like nothing can top this. But yet, the fights and fight cards keep getting topped.
Dude, man, what a time to be a fight fan. I say that all the time. I find myself just sitting there on Saturdays with big cards, whether it be boxing and UFC lined up head to head. It happened a few times this year. And it's just a great time to be a fight fan, man, whether you're into boxing or MMA, man. Honestly, it's just super dope. But as far as the UFC, man, looking back on 2021, I think there's a few events that you have to think about when you think about this year. And I think, obviously, the first one should be Max Holloway versus Calvin Kattar. Max Holloway did the "I'm the best boxer in the UFC, baby" moment, where he like yelled at the
Dude, that was awesome, and he like did it like a no look punch, talking to the commentators.
He slipped a punch no
Wow.
look. I've never seen that before. And you know what's cool about that card? That card was on the first ever UFC card in history on ABC. So like, if you were in like some motel, you could have watched that fight like on ABC. Isn't that cool?
I didn't even know that. I like how you know that stuff.
Dude, and that's how the year started. Isn't that crazy? And that was to start the year on Fight Island. The UFC threw 3 events in I think a span of 7 days or 8 days, and the third event was Poirier and McGregor, man, Abu Dhabi, the rematch. And you know what happened there, dude? McGregor's sleep round 2 was awesome. It's one of my favorite moments of the year, no doubt. They actually weren't talking too much shit before the fight. They were actually kind of friendly, which led to them being not so friendly in the third fight, in the trilogy fight.
Did the Sleepy McGregor fight?
Yeah, in the second
Man,
fight.
the Sleepy McGregor fight, really quick to talk about that. Man, that was the mark of, and I hate to say it because you know it. I don't want to say I'm a huge Conor fan, like a fanboy. I don't know what it is, but it's just something about it, and it just shows in his pay-per-view sales, man. People just want to see him fight. It's interesting, but that he looked like a rusted old man, bald head, just bearded. He looked, didn't look like Conor McGregor. He looked like the character on the La Loteria Mexican game. He looked like El Borracho.
Oh. Yeah. Honestly, man. No, man. That's funny. That's a good joke. But like, dude, he actually was lighting up Dustin in the first round. I remember watching that fight live, being like, oh, like, I mean, it was good that Dustin was able to take those shots and not, show any like hesitancy or like really any damage done. But I was like, oh man, he's clipping him pretty good. But dude, the fight turned like that on a dime. Those leg kicks added up. He just decided not to check him. He just started using the approach of, I'm not going to check any of these leg kicks. And yeah, man, Dustin gets it done. Knocks out Conor McGregor. One of the best moments of the year. It starts in January. Just so sick, dude. After that, the year goes on. We end up getting some stacked pay-per-view cards back to back. I believe Stipe Francis, Usman Burns, and I think Volkanovski Ortega were all back to back to back. And this is during the pandemic still. Dude, the UFC's ability to handle the pandemic is just insane. Like, they're putting on these great cards after great cards, and everyone's so eager to watch them. And it is something interesting, Martin. How do you feel about watching those big fights, those big moments? You saw it last week with Derek Lewis in the main event without the fans. So you could kind of like hear more, like what did you get from that?
Well, the minute it was announced, or you knew, like, wait, they're gonna fight in a little cage with just limited people. Mm-hmm. You wondered how it was gonna turn out, and the minute you saw the first fight, you were like, oh, you can hear the punches, you can hear the coaches, you can hear whoever's in the crowd. It feels like it hits different. It doesn't. It definitely hits different, and if it hits different for the fans, imagine for the fighters how it feels.
Dude, I remember just exactly, you just exactly described it perfectly for me. I feel like when that was starting to happen, you could just hear even block shots. You would just hear them so clearly, and it's just it's different when it's a welterweight title on the line. You know, Gilbert Burns drops Kamaru Usman in the first round, only to get finished in the second, or like I think it's the second or third. But those moments are just so different in not a cage. Like Habib retired without any fans there. You know, like Cejudo retired without any fans there. It's just weird. But yeah, man, the first event back with fans though was probably the best card of the year for me. It was when Kamaru Usman knocked out Jorge Masvidal at UFC 261, and that card was just insane, man. That was when Weili got head kicked in like 30 seconds. That's when, yeah, obviously Masvidal got knocked out and just rocked.
And
just wow.
Not only did he get knocked out, he got knocked out in just like one of the worst ways possible in front of people. I mean, sweat in slow motion. And man, these fighters are making losing look cool. I mean, usually when a fighter loses, their stock goes down, but now it's like, especially with Nate Diaz, you don't even care if they lose. You almost become like a super fan. You know, so like I think winning and losing is out the door at this point.
You know, that's funny you say that, man. Connor got asked by Megan O'Leary about after he had just got knocked out in January, going into the third fight, and she's like, you know, do you worry about like your fans, like, you know, kind of losing their faith in you, or kind of, you know, not becoming fans anymore because you're losing? And he laughed and he goes, Megan, I don't have fans, I have soldiers. And I was like, that's hilarious. Like, and he's right, because like, dude, you get so big that people don't care. Like you said, Nate Diaz could look like for 4 rounds and then land one good shot on Leon Edwards and point at him, and then that's the only thing people remember about that fight. But that card was insane, dude. Weili losing her belt like that to Rose after she was saying, I'm the best. That was pretty funny. Not funny, but like that was pretty epic. That leads us to probably the summer, winter, fall area of the year. I just thought it was funny. But now, at this point in the year, Jake Paul has become a thing. Like in the beginning of the year, he fought, I think, Nate Robinson, and then Ben Askren, and then now it's like Tyron Woodley time.
Mm-hmm.
And he's gone from like complete like joke to someone like who's getting all these crazy headlines. And
he's become such a serious fighter, and like people are taking him serious. That you showed me something earlier that the pay-per-view sales from their last fight was 65,000.
Yeah, that's actually bad, dude.
Dana White said it's just a matter of time before people lose interest. I mean, nobody likes a good fighter. Look at Khabib. How many was he a top pay-per-view seller?
Well,
no.
after the Conor fight.
But
yeah,
was he a good champ? And he reminded me of Mighty Mouse. I mean, an average fan, you say who Mighty Mouse is, they go no, they go, you know, another fighter that just defended his belt countless times, but wasn't a pay-per-view seller, wasn't a drawer. And look at Jake Paul. I mean, is it happening? Are people just being bored because he's good?
No, he hasn't fought one professional fighter yet in boxing.
Now that's the point everyone brings up, is he hasn't fought a professional boxer, which is
right.
True, but he was trying to fight one.
Yeah. I mean,
so it shows
fault,
intent. Yeah. That's a whole nother subject. I could go on and on about Jake Paul, and Woodley was not the easier fight. I don't care who you are. Woodley was not the easier fight. Tommy Fury was going to be hard for him. On that night when Jake fought, if you put Tommy in there, Jake loses. You know, Jake loses. He can't beat someone like Tommy Fury. But yeah, he was gonna fight someone like him, but that was the harder fight for him. You know, win or lose.
Right. He's doing it right, Martin. He's doing it right. He's gradually getting. Dude, look at anyone, bro. Canelo, Floyd, Triple G. Look at their first 4 fights. They weren't fighting 10-0 guys. They weren't fighting 9-0 guys. They fight 0-0 guys, 1-0 guys, just like anyone, the professional boxer. But yeah, I mean, so it was just funny to see him get treated like a joke, and then to now where he is, like he's like a Showtime. Volk Max 2 was such a crazy close fight. I mean, you could just go on and on about how you go about scoring that fight, but yeah, I did have that for Max 2. It's just one of those things where do you think Max is the best featherweight in the world, but he's not champ? Just like Peter Yan's the best 135er, but he's not the champ. Just like Islam's the best 155er.
And I think we're not touching on something that Max has kept saying, but he has something in store for us, and he keeps hinting something towards boxing. And I'm telling you, Zuffa boxing, Max versus Conor, I think that it's inevitable. I think that's gonna happen. I think something in that effect's gonna happen. But Max says that he's not waiting around like these other fighters for the money fights. Anytime, anywhere, any place, which is Max, you know.
Dude.
So I think he deserves more respect. I think he is the uncrowned champ.
Dude, no, it's hard to argue, man. I mean, especially the way the second fight went. But Volk's just so dirty, which brings us to Volkanovski versus Ortega. That's one of the craziest rounds I've ever seen. Round 3, Ortega drops and gets Volkanovski in, I think, a mounted front headlock, looks like. And I don't know how Volkanovski doesn't tap. I remember watching it live thinking he's not going to tap, but if he just goes out, like just, passes out, he's going to lose. Like, it doesn't matter if he doesn't want to tap. He just still get, unconscious here. And he slips out of the choke, ends up getting in a triangle later in the round, gets out of that too. And still he defends his belt, but man, that fight was just so crazy. There's moments, I'm like, Kamaru Usman, Colby Covington won. That fight, Conor versus Khabib, Ortega versus Volkanovski, there's moments where your heart's just racing during the fight. And that was one for sure, man. Shout out to Volkanovski and Ortega for sure.
Could it be? No, which way to go?